Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I have something hopefully short and sweet for you, but we're going to be taking a look at doing a revolve here in Solidworks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and break this down because there's a couple of missing dimensions that I have to kind of give you light on, just in case if you're doing this right off the drawing. So I'll come back and discuss that, and then we'll jump over to Solidworks and get this one done. Okay, so the dimension that you can see that is missing is going to be a dimension that is going from here to here, right? And there is no number put on that, so I'm just going to assign them to you from now. I'm going to assume that the dimension that's going in between here to here, which we already have that dimension as sitting at 5, but the dimension going from this line up, and I know this is kind of a little ugly here, and please excuse my drawing, from here to here is also going to be 5, right? So if we assume that this number here is going to be 5 going across, then we could do the simple math of saying if this is 35 going all the way across here, right? And then we take another 5 and another 5 from off the other side, then this number here in the middle will be 25, okay? So we're going to assume that that is that, and that's going to be the number that's going to be missing. So let's jump over to SolidWorks now that we kind of got that part discussed, and let's start creating this. Here in SolidWorks, I'm just going to start off by clicking the new icon, and then we're going to double click on here where we're going to create a part. Now I will be creating this part as a millimeter, so I will make sure I bring your attention to that once SolidWorks is up and loading, but you can already see it. It's happening right down here in the bottom corner. That mmgs, remember that stands for our millimeters, grams, and seconds. Okay? And here in a second, I'm just waiting on that ribbon to come across the top. But if you're looking at this one, you see it's a cylindrical part. That should automatically tell you that we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, we plan on creating a revolve. Remember that a revolve has to have two components. It has to have a profile now, and I'm saying a profile here in SolidWorks. If we were talking Inventor or in AutoCAD, it would have to be a closed profile. But here in SolidWorks, we can get away with a thin feature and use that to revolve. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to need is some kind of profile, and then we're going to need an axis of revolution. Okay? So let's go ahead and jump over and create a sketch. So I'm just going to select this icon here and create a sketch, and it should jump over to my plane. All right, so now I have to figure out what plane do I want to create this on. I'm going to choose the right plane here. All right. And now, remember, I said we need two things. So the first thing I'm going to get out of the way real quick. We're going to need an axis of revolution. Next to the line command, you'll see that we have line, a center line, and a midpoint line. Now, this is where SolidWorks is kind of a little bit tricky. You can use a center line as an axis of revolution. That's the normal way of doing it. We can use any line as an axis of revolution, and we can also use construction lines as axis of revolution. So depending on what you want to spin it around, that's what SolidWorks is going to give you the option to do. So I'm just going to start off by selecting here as a midpoint line, and I'm going to kind of preference this here in the beginning. So I can draw a midpoint line here. There's my line. That's going to be my axis of revolution. But in order for me to set it up and tell SolidWorks that I want to use this as an axis of revolution, remember, let's get out of the line command. If I select this line, and then here in the window, if I tell it to make it a construction geometry, I want you to take a look at what this line changes to, right? So if you did any kind of drafting, you would recognize that line as a center line, right? So remember that this is nothing more than a reference line. It's a center line, okay? If you use the actual center line command here, which is going to be here, and I'm just going to draw one going right across here, you can see that there is a slight difference, right? The line type is still the same, the spacing is different, and the color of it is different. So either one of these will work as an axis of revolution. That's going to be strictly up to you. The second thing that I'm going to show you here is also how I'm going to dimension things. And we're going to see that here in a second. So let's go ahead and delete this line here. And then I'm going to start off by creating the first line of my shape. So I'll come back to the line command. And I'm just going to draw a line going straight across here. All right. Remember how we create the relations on here. We'll go find this midpoint. Go ahead and select it. And then hold down the shift button. And then go find the center point there. And then we're going to use the vertical. Right. So I'm just going to keep those in line with each other and keep everything right here in the middle. Let's go ahead and use the smart dimensioning here. And then we're going to place this dimension on this line. Now this is the line that goes all the way across. Okay. So this one has a distance of 45. All right. Now we have a gap in between here, right? This is a actual gap. In order to create a hole here, we have two types of dimensions that we can do on here. I'm going to show you the first way if you didn't understand how to do the other way, right? So if I just use a regular smart dimension and I put a dimension from here to here, and then I go ahead and I click this dimension here, it's going to say, hey, how far do you want that to be? And I can type in 25, which is the diameter, and then divide that number by 2, and go ahead and hit enter. And then it's going to move that line down at a distance of 12.5, right? That's one way of doing it. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing it this way. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete that dimension for you. And I'll go ahead and move this up a hair. Okay. Another way, if you want this to kind of look a little bit more, I want to say professional, is underneath the drop down here, you have a symmetric linear, right? So I'm going to select here. And now I want you to read down here on the command line. It says select one or more edges / vertices of the location, right? So the way this is going to work is I'm going to select here first. So select your center line first and then select the line that you want to reference it to. Let's go ahead and click out here and then I'll click that dimension, right? So you can see that this is giving me a diameter dimension, okay? Let me escape out of the command and then once I double click on here, I'll go ahead and type in 25 and it should drop that line down to the appropriate distance of 25, right? So either one of those methods will work. That's going to be strictly up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of finish creating this shape. I'm just going to pan this down a little bit. Let's draw the rest of it. So we'll do a line command. And I'm just going to draw this line going up. We know that we have an angle coming in. Let's over exaggerate that a little bit. Let's go up here. Kind of exaggerate that a little bit. Come here and then go straight across to here. Okay. And it looks like that line is not horizontal, but you know we can fix that. If you select that line, wait for it to pop up, and we can just select the horizontal constraint there, our relationship. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that this line here is in the center, right? So remember, we're going to go find that center point, select it, hold down the shift button. Let's go and find that center point, or midpoint is what I actually should be calling them. Go ahead and tell them that these two are vertical to each other. Let's go ahead and place another dimension on it. So we have a dimension going across here at a distance of 35. All right. Go ahead and put our length up here. So if you want to use that dimensioning again, use the symmetrical. Select your center line first, and then this line, and then I'll go ahead and click here. This one has an overall diameter of 116. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a couple of more on here. And you can see sometimes your stuff will go a little crazy. Escape out of any command that you are in and then just grab that point and then just drag it down. That's kind of your easiest way of doing this. All right. Let's go ahead and place a couple of more dimensions on here. So we have a dimension between this line and this one. Go ahead and click here. This dimension is going to be 5. Okay. We almost got this side totally done. Let's go ahead and add a couple of angles on here. So we're still using our smart dimensions. We're going to click here and here. And we're going to give it a diameter of 15. Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing here at the top. So I'm just going to select here and here. And what I'm trying to do is make sure I don't grab any other line or midpoint or things of that nature, right? So this one is also going to have one of 15. All right, so now let's add a couple of more dimensions here. So we need to know how far it is to this line here. I'll just keep adding my dimensions here. That's going to be the symmetric ones. So I'll click from here to here. This is going to be set to 50. I'll come back and edit it here in a second. So I'm just going to select here and then here. Okay. Let's escape out of that command, and then I'll double click here, and then this is, like I said, has a 50. And then this one has a diameter of 100. All right, so this is kind of fully constrained, right? So everything looks good here. Let's go ahead and draw another line going straight from that midpoint going up to that midpoint. Now this line that I just created, I'm just going to go ahead and make it construction. So I'm just going to select it and then make it construction. The reason I'm doing that is I'm going to mirror these lines over as opposed to redoing all of this stuff again. So I'm just going to kind of save us the hassle of doing that. Now, I don't think we've had an example where we use the mirror command in the sketch. If I did, I do apologize, but it should be really simple. We're going to select all of these components, right? And don't forget to hold down the shift button as you keep selecting each of the lines. Okay, I got one more line to select. Okay, so you can see my list there running. I'm going to go ahead and select the mirror entries. It automatically has all these lines selected. I'm going to come here and select here, and it's going to say mirror about that line there. It should give me a preview of what I'm looking at. And if that is correct, go ahead and hit the enter button there. It gives me a shade to say, hey, that is one complete solid and everything is happy. Okay. We have our basic shape created. We have all of our dimensions on here. Let's go ahead and hit the OK and exit this sketch. I'm going to kind of zoom out a little bit. I'm going to switch over to the Features tab, and then I'm going to use the Revolve, right? So I'm going to reuse a Revolve base. I'm going to select here. You're going to see that it's looking right now for an axis of revolution, so that's what this blue area is looking. Remember, I have two of them. I have this one here I could use, or I have this one. I'm going to select this one here at the bottom. So once I select that, it sees that that's the sketch that I want to create, and then I'll hit the OK button. And you can see that it does accept it, right? All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and select this surface here. And then I'll select the icon to start a sketch on it. Once I have my sketch started, let's go ahead and create a circle. From that center, going out to here, let's go ahead and put a dimension on it. This one will have a dimension. Thought I was in the dimension command. Here we go. Should have a dimension of, let's say, 75. Okay. I'm going to select this line here. I'm going to do a right click on it, and then I'll make it construction. We'll go ahead and place a point somewhere along that line there. Let's hit the escape button. And then I'm just going to make them both center to each other. I'm sorry, vertical to each other. So I'll select that icon, hold down the shift button, select there, let it go, and then I'll make the vertical relationship. Okay, let's escape out of here. That's all we're going to need for this sketch. We can go ahead and go to OK it. All right, so I'm going to have this sketch selected. And then we're going to come to the hole wizard. Once we have the hole wizard activated, it should automatically find our point there, in which it does. We're going to use a hole. I'm just using a custom sizing. I'm going to make it 8 millimeters thick. And then I'm just going to send it through all. So everything is satisfied here. You can already see the preview of that hole going through my shape here. All right, go ahead and hit the OK button. Now, this is another thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but I do like to create my arrays, especially with circles and things of that nature, by using it as a feature more than part of being a sketch. So it's just one of the things I like to do. So I have that highlighted right here. So I have it pre-selected. With it being pre-selected, I'll go to the circular pattern. And I thought I had it pre-selected. It looks like it did not have it pre-selected. Let me do that again. I just want to show you that that's more or less a shortcut way of you not having to come back and select it. So if you have it selected now, and when I go to the circular pattern, you'll see that that's automatically highlighted as the feature that I want to bring. So this is the feature that I want to create. It's looking for an axis of revolution. I'm just going to pick inside of that cylinder. Should be able to find that. And the default setting is 6 at 365 degrees. All right, so I'll go ahead and hit the OK button here. Let's escape out of here, hit the space bar, and then let's go ahead and make this into an isometric. All right, and I want to thank you for watching this, right? So hopefully you enjoyed this video over revolves and things of that nature. As always, keep drafting. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.